But we would love for you to drop in the chat. Tell us where you're calling from. I see Susan, hello, from Glendale. Hi, Susan. So Mary, good morning. Lindsay, good morning. So if you could drop your name in the chat, or your name will already be on your, should be on your screen name, but drop where you're calling in from. Let us know what kind of job or industry you're targeting. And then we would also love to have your LinkedIn profile. And so if you drop your URL to your LinkedIn profile, just like Mary did in the chat, then we can all connect with each other. Oh, Ted, I'm so glad you're here today. Good morning. He's one of our awesome LinkedIn coaches. And so engage in the chat today. I'm honored to be the last keynote speaker of the year. So when we get to my topic, we will do a lot of engaging on the chat. And so just go ahead and get the chat going. Our companies are online and they can answer questions this morning as well for you. All right. So Sheila, would you like to take over on the tech side?
Yes, I would. Okay, so Jessica, I think you covered the chat pretty well. I'm not sure, did you cover about copy pasting your URL?
Go ahead.
So, yep. So do we have anybody that's shared a URL yet? Yeah, that's perfect. So as long as it turns blue, everybody will be able to click on it, and that's what we want to see. And let's make sure we use the chat, because since we can't gather in person, right, everything looks different. That's how we're going to connect today. So that's super important. You'll notice we have our employers on the line already. Mia's here with Hotfoot and Ashley's here from Penny Mac. So they're there if you want to go ahead and chat with them. If there is someone in need of closed captioning today, please go ahead and let me know in the chat, and I'll see if I can pull that together, or you can use the chat today. Here is our agenda, but before we come into the agenda, I just wanted to say welcome to our last event of the year. I'm super glad that you're here. It has been quite a year, obviously. I know that we've all had challenges, but my hope is that we can all remember not just the bad things that happened this year, but also the good. Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. And for me, the best part of this year has been feeling and noticing just a sense of community that we have here, not just locally, but globally. So I hope that you have felt that, and I hope you feel that here, because we're in it together. And we have probably, well, can I say this? Our best speaker here today. So that is super exciting. And I don't want to delay any further, because Jessica has so much great information for you. Just so you know, we should be streaming on Facebook. We're recording the event. So if you missed something, you will be able to see it on our website later. We also have a blogger here who's taking notes. So there's plenty of ways to get the information if you miss it, but enjoy. So this morning, first we have Jessica with Land Your Perfect Job in 2021. And then we have Mia Papa with Hotfoot Granger Jobs, and Ashley's here with Penny Mac. And then we'll hear from Jason with Wealth Wave. And then at the end, we are going to do what we did last time, and we're going to open up some breakout rooms. I have some awesome coaches coming, and our companies are going to stay. Jessica's going to stay. So if you would like to speak with them, stay till the end, and we'll do breakout rooms. Okay. So with that, I am going to go ahead and introduce one of my very favorite people, Jessica Pierce. Jessica founded Career Connectors in 2009 after the economy had a personal impact on her family. Originally started as a small volunteer group to help write resumes, it quickly turned into the larger organization helping people get back to work. She is now CEO of Career Connectors, as well as a known speaker, hiring professional, and career transition expert. Career Connectors has now served over 40,000 people in the Phoenix area and is the #4 networking group from the Phoenix Business Journal. Jessica has spoken at the White House in the Forum on Job Clubs in the United States, her focus being on employer engagement. She has also been named one of Phoenix's 40 under 40, an award recipient of the Arizona Foothills Women Who Move the Valley. She's been featured in the Arizona Republic, NBC Channel 12, ABC Channel 15, AZ Channel 3, and more. Jessica has 3 amazing kids and a wonderful husband that also dedicates his life to getting people back to work. You can often hear them say, living the dream. Awesome. Jessica, would you like the mouse?
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hello,
Right.
hello. I am so glad to be here, you guys. So a funny thing happened today, and I thought I would start off with this. Let's see, I can get this moving here. So it's been, let's see, the last recession was 2008 and 9. And I'm going to hold this up to my screen, and I don't know, you probably can't see it, but I will read it to you. I use this app called Time Hop. And what it does is it gives me all the social media posts I've done on that day for eternity, basically. Who knows how long this will last, but this post was 11 years ago. So 11 years ago, our family was significantly affected by the recession. So I had to close a business. I was running a staffing business, and my husband, who was a recruiter, got laid off from 3 companies in 6 months. And at the time, our kids we had a 10-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an infant. And so our world was completely shattered. And we had to short sell the home we were living in, and we moved out to a rental. And let me read this post I did. Found out the home we are renting is in foreclosure. Wonderful. If you know of a rental home in South Gilbert, South Chandler with 4 bedrooms under $1,100 a month, that was a dream back then, please let me know. Oh yeah, another requirement is that the owners pay the mortgage monthly. So the week before Christmas, 11 years ago, we were kicked out of our home because the owner was not paying their mortgage after short selling our house. So I had 1 week, 14 days essentially to find a new place, get my kids into a new school if we were moving, and just the world was shaken. I didn't know what was going to be happening. Career Connectors had just started. We had kicked off a couple months before that, and had started building momentum. And it was a really, really hard time. It was one of those times, I mean, this day, 11 years ago, I will never forget it. I remember opening up our mortgage, or our lender, not our lender, our property manager was at our front door and knocked, and I opened the door, and he was there to fix something in the house. And I opened the door, and there is a foreclosure notice on my door, and our house is going to auction in 2 weeks. And I was like, what is happening? And I remember just falling to my knees and just shaking, like thinking our whole family was going to be homeless. Mark and I were trying to figure out how to make some money. And it was a really, really difficult time for us. And I want to tell you this because this is 14 days before the end of the year. We had until January 1st to move out, and it all worked out. A home was provided under $1,100 a month. In fact, it was $999. I will never forget, for rent in a 4-bedroom house in Gilbert. If you don't call that a miracle, I don't know what is. When we got that, the house was a disaster. So we had cleaners come in, we had a painter come in that gave me like a killer deal. I think he painted the whole house for like $500 with some extra paint he had left over from a job. I mean, the craziest things happened. And then 2010, just 3 months later, I landed a contract that pulled us out of the recession. And in that moment, 14 days before the end of the year in 2009, I could not see a step in front of me. So I don't know where you are today. My story is my story. Your story is your story. But I can tell you that a lot of us can't see the step in front of us right now. And what I want to do today is let you know that there is hope. Let you know that there is something coming. You're taking the steps. You're here in December to attend an event for looking for your next job. A lot of people give up in December. You are here. That means you are taking a step. And so what I want to walk you through today is how to land that perfect job in 2021. I'm going to give you some action steps to take. And then together, we are going to work through this, get ready to get into the chat. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to engage together, and it's going to be a great day. So thank you for being here today. All right. What I wanted to first show you is a lot of times people don't realize that when they're looking for a job, what you're doing is you need to get into the brain somehow of the hiring manager, the recruiter, and the team that's making the decisions. And what I mean by that is really, you have to figure out, like, what are they looking for? Not that you're going to change who you are, but you have to understand that there is a process. They're looking for somebody that is the culture fit, that does have the competence. So you may have all the competence skills, but are you a culture fit for that company? So here's just an example of what a recruitment life cycle looks like. There are many, many steps. So sometimes companies can hire very quickly, 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes months. I've worked with clients where it's been a 3 to 6 month process to hire somebody, either because they got a ton of candidates and they were trying to make the right decision, or there weren't a lot of candidates that were a match. And so it took a lot of time to drum up those people and find them. But just because you send in your resume today doesn't necessarily mean you will be contacted tomorrow, as many of you know. I know a lot of times it feels like you're going into what I call the black hole of death, an application, and you never hear back from anyone. Well, my goal is to get you in front of those people, because the best jobs are often not even posted. So there's an idea of what a recruitment cycle looks like. There are many out there. Some have extra steps. Some, as part of the screening, will do assessments for you. If you're interested in a job, make sure you go through every process. I don't know. I think my mouse is weird. It's me. It's my mouse doesn't like it. So sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is go through, kind of like get in your head. You're a hiring manager. I know I've been hiring managers before, but get in your head, you're a hiring manager. How do I get in front of those people? What can I do to show them my skill set and how I'm a fit for the culture? So first thing you want to do is you want companies to find you. You might have to take the reins, Sheila. Sorry about that. So you want companies to find you. One of the first things that people do when they are looking for a new job is they go out to the job boards, which can be a great thing to do. Go out to the job boards, kind of look around, see what jobs are out there. But what I want you to see here, and the words in this graph are a little old, but I love the visual of it. The visual is, most job seekers start in the online world with a job posting, going out to the job boards, which is fine. It's a great place to do research, but most employers don't start there. Sure, they post their jobs, but some of the best jobs out there start with somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So think about if you've ever hired somebody in your work life, or you've been part of a project and you needed somebody with some expertise. It could be a volunteer project. Many times, or you need a referral. I just did this the other day. I needed somebody, I needed a new hair lady because the lady that I usually use got sick. She got COVID. And so, she's on quarantine and I won't be going over there for a couple weeks, but I needed to get my hair done. And so I just went online to a Facebook group and found a referral, and she was awesome. And so we take referrals from a lot of people. Companies do the same. They often will have an employee referral program where if they hire the person that you refer into the company, there's a bonus. I mean, some of those bonuses can be really, really good. I remember when I was at Intel, I was, 24, 25, right in there. And I was a single mom, and I was an admin assistant at Intel, and I had just started my career there. And I was getting my MBA at the same time while going to school. And Intel had this awesome referral program. Oh, it's dating me back a while, but I think it was like $500 for a non-exempt referral that got hired, and $1,000 for an exempt person that got hired. And, being a single mom, going to school full time, not making a lot of money, I literally made that my second job. And so I had just graduated, or I was in the process of graduating. So I knew a ton of people that were graduating. And so I referred a lot of people to Intel and made a great second income for a couple of years. And so the reasons that companies look to referrals, internal candidates, is one, most people are only going to refer people that they would recommend for someone to hire. The people that are referred in stay longer. They have a longer, a lower turnover rate for people leaving. So if you're referred in, you're likely not to leave for a while. You feel committed to the company, you appreciate being referred in, and internal or referrals perform better. That's what the data shows us. So if you can get referred into a company, that is golden. That is what you want to do. And that's why we say, you don't want to be out there applying for 100 jobs a month. You really want to zoom in on the companies that you want to work for and the jobs that you want. And so that's what I want you to focus on, is really looking at the companies that you want to work for and that you are interested in their positions. All right, so a lot of companies well, think about this. If you've ever been a hiring manager or recruiter, you may have felt like this before. Overwhelmed by the amount of resumes. And in this case, obviously it's a paper one just to show you what it looks like. And so you can feel the depth and kind of the burden of hiring. But online is the same thing. Now we have applicant tracking systems that we utilize so that there are keyword matches. So write that word down for yourself, keywords, because you're going to need to come back to that when you're applying for jobs. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But what's this guy going to do? Essentially, even if all those pass the keyword check, it's like pulling a needle out of a haystack. Where does he start? Does he start at the top, the middle, the bottom? Where is your resume in that pile? So it's truly overwhelming. I just posted a job for a client, let's see, a week ago, and I think I've gotten 150 resumes for it. But the people that I am interviewing first are the people that have been recommended in. That's how it goes, you guys. So make sure that you are connecting with people at that company, because the reality is you spend a huge majority of your week at work. And people want to do business with people they know and people they like. I talked to a hiring manager yesterday, and he said, I hired this gal. It was an administrative assistant. I hired this lady a couple years ago, and she didn't really have the skills, but I really liked her. You know why I liked her? Because when she came in my office, she smiled. That was his hiring criteria. She smiled. He goes, she brought some joy. So, gosh, what does that say? She didn't have all the criteria that he wanted, didn't have all the expertise, but she smiled. So that is important too. You have to have that connection. And then the other thing is the job you want will likely not be advertised. It may not be on a job board. The numbers are really high. I see them all the way from like 55% to 70% of jobs are not even advertised, or you're not going to find it on an advertisement. It's because you're introduced to somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. All right. So I want to talk about some data points here about social networks, because a lot of people have this idea that social media is not that great, and there are valid reasons for that. But I want you to see what employers and recruiters are using to find talent. 94% of them are using LinkedIn. LinkedIn in some way, in some fashion, they are using LinkedIn, whether it's active sourcing, active recruiting, whether it's just to validate your resume and what you've said on your resume to be true. They can double check it. They're checking it to see maybe if you have any connections to somebody they're connected to. Lots of reasons. Are you engaged on LinkedIn? There's a lot of reasons an employer would utilize social media to either find you or validate the information they're hearing from you. Facebook, believe it or not, there is a job board on Facebook, but not only that, and I don't see that used as much, but Employers are posting from their Facebook pages, but you know what also they're doing? They're reviewing your Facebook pages. You might think you're locked down completely, and maybe you are, but even if you are, a lot of times people can see your profile. Not even digging in, just typing out your name, Jessica Pierce, Facebook, and my profile will show up. So I'm going to talk, a word of caution there. Think about, how you want to be representing yourself, because when the company is looking at your profiles, they're thinking, is that how we want to be represented in the community? Then there are some other social media platforms, but by far, LinkedIn is the #1 solution when it comes to recruiting and sourcing. And then you can see on the next page, this is really interesting to me. So look at the LinkedIn line. 94% of recruiters are active on LinkedIn, but only 36% of job seekers are. So right there, doesn't that tell you, like, whoa, if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm already ahead of the curve. And you need to be. Sharon, I'm glad you find LinkedIn very useful. I do too. When I launched Career Connectors in 2009, I jumped in LinkedIn, and it wasn't even that big at the time, but I started looking for all the employers I knew and the people I knew to invite them to be speakers at Career Connectors. Without LinkedIn, I don't know if we would have a program, or it would look very different. And so I want you to make sure you're seeing this, where on the other one, maybe 65% of recruiters use Facebook, but 83% of job seekers do. So really, really important for you to be on LinkedIn and to have clean profiles across the board. So what we hear from recruiters is that social media, social profile networks are the #1 source of quality hires. And that over 75% of people who recently changed jobs use LinkedIn to inform their career decisions. So Sheila, you can move to the next slide. You can see that people who are moving jobs, moving companies, if you've ever seen this, they'll change like their current employer. And what happens is that post goes live. That becomes a post essentially, but something for everybody to see. And those get a lot of volume, a lot of social media, or a lot of search engine optimization behind it, because people are like, congratulations, great job. So it moves it up. So 75% of people use that to inform people that they're in a new job. Here's what I do when I see that. Ashley's on the line, and she recently took on a new position at PennyMac, and I saw it on LinkedIn, I think. And I just was like, congratulations, do you want to come out and represent PennyMac at our next event? And she said yes. And so that happens all the time. Recruiters move, HR managers move, your connections move. So make sure you're on LinkedIn and engaging with those conversations, because I didn't know anything about PennyMac, and I'm excited to hear about it today, but I did a little searching. I'm like, this looks like a great company. And so that's for you too, for people looking for jobs. So a couple more things on that. New employees sourced through LinkedIn are 40% less likely to leave the company within 6 months. And LinkedIn influenced hires are 2 times more likely to be high demand and above average hires. So people know that if you're using LinkedIn, that you are professional, you know what you're doing, and you're informed of the industry and what you're looking at. So the next one is, just what the tactics they use. You can see they search for candidates, they're vetting for pre-interviews, they're posting jobs. Like, there's a lot of stuff, but big difference here is LinkedIn is a lot of searching, Facebook is a lot of branding. And so understand that you want to represent your brand just like the company wants to represent their brand. So if you're talking about very divisive topics on your social media, then that can really hurt you because the company, again, is looking at you as, are you going to represent our brand well? Now, a couple ways, and I had mentioned this at the beginning about job boards. There are so many job boards, over 500 job boards out there. So Simply Hired Recruit, Indeed is the big one. Sheila, you can go to the next slide. Indeed is the big one, but there's tons of job boards. Use the job boards for finding out the jobs that are out there. And what I recommend, I usually recommend, and maybe not all people would agree with me with this, but what I typically recommend is do the research on the job boards. And then if you see a job you like, jump out to that company website and apply there. See if the job is posted there. And if it is, apply there. If it's not, apply, through the job board. But apply there. And then jump over to LinkedIn and see if you have any connections at that company. And actually, this happened to me yesterday. Just yesterday, someone called and said, hey, I see you connected to this person. Can you tell me a little bit about that company? And this is a long-time volunteer. And I'm like, absolutely. And so I spent a few minutes with him on the phone to talk about the company and who he can connect with. And so he has an in. So he gets out of the pile of resumes, and now he has an in for an introduction. All right, so now that all was about the company. So now we're gonna engage a little bit here. Now we're gonna talk about how do you stand out? How do you get somebody to get to, or how do you get in front of the employer and they'll say, hey, I'm the one, I'm the match. Well, first of all, you have to connect. That is the first thing you have to do. You have to connect. Again, look at the job boards and see who is hiring. Sheila, you can go to the next slide, please. But networking, that is so important. Do people know that you are job searching? Have you shared that? Have you talked to people about what you're looking for in the industry? And have you done that yet? If not, you need to be doing that. I mean, yeah, 2020 stunk. I think we're pretty much all in agreement with 2020 stunk. But on the positive side of that, no one is going to fault you if you're looking for a job right now. Nobody. And so there should be zero embarrassment. There should be, you should feel absolutely confident and going and talking to people from previous companies, talking to your friends and family and colleagues about your career transition. And that goes in two phases. You can talk to them about, hey, I'm kind of looking and trying to figure out what I'm doing here, what kind of job, what kind of industry. What do you think I'm good at? Like, what are some of the things that you think I did well when we worked together? Or what do you see as some of my traits? Or, what do you hear about when I'm talking to you? Like, what comes out that's really, that sounds like something I really like to do? And then, for example, I'll give you an example. So my husband, definitely my closest confidant, I was going through some career shifting stuff a couple years ago. And I said, I'm trying to figure out what the right lane is for me. So of course, Career Connectors, and we have this great program that, of course, and then I had this other business, and I was trying to just really carve out what I wanted to do with that other business. And I mean, it did not take him 5 seconds to say, here's what you love, here's what you hate. He knew, I was like, you're right. Okay, now this is what I need to do to build this up. So I'm doing what I'm gifted at, and I'm giving somebody else the opportunity to do what they're gifted at. Makes sense. And so talk to people, ask them, what am I good at? Where do I struggle? What industries are out there? And then of course, connecting through social media. So it's really hard to do one-on-one, face-to-face coffees right now. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. So pick up the phone, do a 5-minute phone call, send a text message, and then connect on social media. I am a social media fan because I am connected with so many people that I would never have had the opportunity to connect with. And so if you are not on social media, you've got to at least get on LinkedIn and then Facebook or Instagram, whatever, as a secondary. All right. So that's the first thing you got to do is connect. Now I'm walking you through the process. When a company is looking to hire somebody, there's 3 big things they're looking for: competence, character, and chemistry. Those 3 big areas will give them the right culture match, and will give you the right culture match. You do not want to be working with me that is not the culture match for you. I had a friend that did that. Gosh, it's been like 6 or 7 years now. And she took a job because she was scared. She took a job, company that totally she could do the job. I mean, her experience fit for sure. And 6 months later, she left the company. And I sat down with her after and I said, what's going on? And she goes, taking that job hurt me more than it ever helped me. And so she had to go through and get some counseling and deal with some very, very difficult things that had happened at that employer that should have never happened. And so she felt beat up. She felt worthless because of the way they treated her. So absolutely, if she said to me, if I would have stopped and looked and dug in and learned about the company, I would have never taken that job, but I didn't. I was scared. And so I jumped. So this model here is not just for them. This model is also for you. Are you a culture match for the company? So how do you figure that out? First of all, from the competence standpoint, there's a couple different ways. I want you to look at the job descriptions. When you're applying for a job, you've got to save that job description. Important to save it because often it will go away before your interview. Save that job description. If you're like me, I like to print it out and like highlight it, but save that job description and really make sure, do you have the knowledge and training? Do you have the experiences and the accomplishments that they are looking for? Do you have the right skill set? So this is the very foundational competence level. And I usually tell people, if you're about an 80% on that job description, go for it. Manager I'm talking to right now, he is requiring a degree. And so I said, are you sure? Do you have to have a degree for this job? Typically in the Phoenix market, this job would not necessarily require a degree. And so he explained to me why he wanted the degree. He gave me some of the pieces like professionalism, ability to make decisions. And so I had to stop him and say, okay, I totally hear you. A degree is valid. Also, there are a lot of people out there that can do this job that don't have a degree, but that can do all these other things. His idea was that just because the degree would bring all of that. And that's not necessarily true. And so we had to talk through that, but you have to really understand. So if you're 80% or more for the job description, it's time to apply, but you can't stop there. So if you're not sure, or if there's an area you're going into, let's say you are maybe a project manager and you've been in a big company for many years running projects. Absolutely, you have the experience, but you don't have your PMP. Okay, that's fine. Just know that it's going to be harder for you to land because now the new guideline is that you have to have your PMP certification. You know what? Those tests, that training is available online. That training can often even be funded by Arizona at Work, Maricopa County, or City of Phoenix. There is funding out there. So really dive in, take a deep look into your experience and the industries that you are focusing on. Do you have the training? Document your accomplishments and your experiences. And if you need some more experience, volunteer. Sheila Coulomb started our Career Connectors because she was a volunteer. I would die without her today. She's an engineer. She's not doing engineering work, but all of those skills and capabilities and things she learned there, how to think through things, process, all of that, we needed her. I am not a process person. I'm not a detail person, and she is. So we have a great team because she does all that so well. But we learned of her because she was a volunteer. So she got that experience. When we said, do you know how to put together, a presentation with a keynote speaker? She's like, I've been doing that for a couple years now, Jessica. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. So she knew right away. So what volunteering can you do? And volunteering, not just for expertise, but also to network, and of course, to serve. That's first, but also understand that all these other things come along with it. where you can showcase your skills. That's why social media is so great. You can write blogs, articles, you can post about your website, you can put things on a website. LinkedIn has so much functionality to post presentations, to post articles, tons. You can showcase yourself there. So I want to also, if you can do any virtual speaking events, what industries are you competent in and can focus on? Is there a CPA? If you're a CPA, what industries can you plug into? Again, to that project manager, what industries can you plug into? HR has SHRM, Society of HR Managers. What industries and associations can you plug into where you can start to showcase your expertise? Also, you can go on to the next slide. When a company is looking at your competence skill sets and seeing if you're matched, they look at your accomplishments. They look at any training that you've done. And then they also look at your skills and experience. So those are the three things that I mentioned before. What I want you to think about right now, I want you, if you don't have a piece of paper out, I'd like you to grab a piece of paper and a pen. And what I want you to think about is, what jobs are you looking for right now? What kind of jobs are you looking for? Think for a second, and then think about, do I have all the right skill sets? Do I have the matching accomplishments to the jobs I'm searching for? Are you missing something? Do you feel like, oh, maybe this could be better? Maybe this could be better. Maybe I need a little experience over here. So think about, is there a volunteer opportunity you can go after? Is there some training? I mean, everybody's online right now. Online training is the thing. Like, you can find online training right now. And if you need to go through a process of getting funded, like if you need a certification to get to the next level, you can hit up Arizona at Work, and they have those opportunities available. So what I want you to do is write that down. Write down one piece of experience or a training opportunity or some kind of accomplishment, something you need to do to raise your game a little bit. Take a minute just to do that. And if you want to drop it in the chat, that would be awesome. So, and I will go through this as we're talking, but if you want to drop in the chat, what's a training opportunity that you need right now? What's some skill or what's an experience that you would like to go after? We have tons of resources and can refer you to some places. And again, some of it can be even funded if you go through the process. So if you want to drop in the chat, just to kind of, is there something you're looking for? Is there a need you have? Is there something you need to go after to find the right opportunities for you? I'm going to move on, but think about that as you move forward in your job search. All right, so that's all competence. Make sure you are crystal clear on your competence level, your experience level, and skill set. Now let's talk character. I love this quote. Talent will get you in the door, but character will keep you in the room. Now, character has become a really, really, really big part of the hiring process. Again, companies want to hire somebody that has a character match to what they're looking for. Is this business I always think of these two extremes. If you know IBM, the history of IBM, they're very much suit and tie, show up to work every day, super formal. Then you have the entrepreneurial, you think maybe like an Infusionsoft, or who is Keep right now? They changed their name to Keep, but you have an entrepreneurial company. And if you show up in that IBM suit and tie for an interview with the entrepreneurial company that has a ping pong table in their offices, immediately they're going to be like, not a fit. I mean, it's going to take them 3 seconds. So you really want to think, and the reason they're thinking that is because if you walk into an entrepreneurial company and they're super casual and that's their style, that's the kind of people they want to hire. That's the kind of people they get along with. Remember, you work with you spend a majority of your time working. People want to work with people they know and like. So you gotta have the right match for the company. So if you go on to the next slide, we have an assessment that we offer to everybody. And this is called the DISC assessment. And the reason we like this is it will go through and tell you some really strong character traits that you have. And I love this because it's not biased. It's based on your responses to some questions and has the confidence to do difficult assignments, as one of the examples on here, and negotiates conflict. So you take these little pieces and how can you incorporate them into your resume? How can you talk about maybe you did something where you negotiated conflict and incorporate that into your resume as an accomplishment, especially if the job description talks about negotiation. If the job description talks about many different job responsibilities, multitasking, then look at that first one. Like, somehow integrate the ability and confidence to do many difficult assignments and how you prioritize. Talk about that in the interview. So you can go out to our website, click on the resources section, and there's a DISC assessment there. And you can see a lot of action verbs in there in the DISC assessment, the responses, and you can use those action verbs to help write your resume. So a big thinker, one I saw was creative problem solver. I love that one because what that means is a lot of times it's for someone who has a high I. That's somebody who will go out and talk to a whole bunch of different people, and then they'll come up with this phenomenal idea, none of it, which was their own, because they went and talked to a whole bunch of people to come up with it. But the skill set to be able to know how to do that and how to ask the right questions and to get people to talk about their ideas, that's a great skill. And so you want to definitely look at this assessment, take it, and understand what it means. So so how do you know what the company wants? So you can go to the next slide. This one is about researching the company. Again, we are trying to think like the hiring manager. We are trying to think like the recruiter. How do I get to the next step? And you got to go through this part. You have to research the company. You have to see if you can find stuff about their values, the behaviors of the company. Looking up on LinkedIn is a great one to do that. On their website, friends you know that work there, connections into the company. In fact, the guy I talked to yesterday was very interested in a job at Freedom Financial Network. And he said, what's it like there? And so I was able to tell him the history of that company growing, because I've been involved with them for, 7 or 8 years. And so I was able to tell him the history and what the people are like and how they manage their staff and their team. And so he knows so much going in. I'm like, these 3 things are really important to them. So guess what? He needs to go research them and figure out if those 3 things are important to him. Have they been mentioned in the news? You can go out to bestcompaniesaz.com and look at best places to work in Arizona. Probably a pretty good culture for most of those companies. Those are employees that have answered surveys about the company to win this award. And so it's internal information. And if they're winning, it's because their employees like where they're working. Ask about the company culture, and then always, always, always confirm who you are interviewing with. And then if you can, then go out to LinkedIn and connect with those people. It's not weird. It's not stalkerish. It's normal. Go out and connect with those people. Now, if you start emailing them every single day, okay, you're turning into stalkerish. But go out and connect with them. They want to connect with you. That tells them that you are interested in the job. All right, so what I want you to do now, on the next slide, we have a little action step here. Get that piece of paper out that you were starting to brainstorm on. And I want you to identify some character traits of yourself. Some values, maybe the work environment, the vision, mission, like what are some things that would really attract you to a company. So go ahead and write those down. Maybe it's even defining it like it needs to be within 10 miles of my house. It needs to be a remote position. It needs to have flexibility because of my kids. It needs to be a casual environment. It needs to be a more formal environment. It needs to have an environment that trusts their employees to make decisions. Or it needs to have, I need to be able to go to my boss whenever I need for help. Like, what are some of those things that are really important to you? Write those down. And if you want to drop some in the chat, you know, what are some key values that you are looking for a company? Should they be community minded? Should they be all about business? Just really go through and take some time to think through this. All right, so make sure you do that and really spend some time. You have a couple weeks here. Companies are still hiring, don't get me wrong, but over the next couple weeks, really think about this. All right, we're gonna move on to chemistry, the third component of that triangle on the bottom right. So once you once you get through the competence section, and then through some of the character stuff where they're validating who you are, they're checking your social media, maybe they're putting you through some assessments. By the time you get to this part, the chemistry part, that is when they're like, okay, this person is qualified, but do they match us? And so the interview is that chance. In fact, a lot of times an employer, because they work with recruiters, whether in-house or staffing firms, by the time they get a candidate in front of them, they know that the work has been done a lot on the competence side and on the character side. And so really this place is, do I like them? Are they a fit? And it's such an intangible, but when you walk in and you have a good interview and you like the person, you know it. Most of us know it, like, oh, that's awesome. That was a great interview. So you need to have, bring your A game. If you are on virtual, which many interviews are happening right now, virtual, you've got to test your technology. You've got to dress the part. You need to do exactly in that interview virtually what you would be doing in person. Now, obviously you can't shake hands, but even shaking hands is weird right now in person, but maybe you can elbow. I don't even know what the proper etiquette is right now for that, but make sure that you are dressing appropriately, even wear pants. I know that's so funny, but what if you have to run to the restroom? What if your dog starts going crazy? What if? Wear a full outfit and be ready for that interview. The eye contact, and again, on the screen, it's weird, but you have a camera on your screen that you can look into. And that's how you know you're looking into the camera when you're talking to them. Have a natural smile. I'll go back to my friend, Eric, that I met with the other day, and he said, I hired her because she smiled. Now, smiling is totally natural to me, but it is not natural for everyone. I get that. So, but try to make it part of your conversation, at least when you say hello, have a pleasant attitude and demeanor, and smiling just naturally will help you along in that way. So have a natural smile and just make sure you're ready to go. If you have to, Jason said he's never seen me without a smile. Oh yeah, my husband always says, everyone thinks you're like Jessica on stage all the time, and I am not. But thanks, Jason. So make sure that you are the same online virtually as you are if you were going in person. And I have a couple more tips on that. Before the interview, I don't know how, I've said this 100 times. You have already researched the company, hopefully, if you're getting an interview. But if you have not researched the company by the time you're getting ready for the interview, you need to. One of the favorite questions of an employer is, what do you know about us? What are you gonna say if you didn't research? Well, job looked great, job description was good. I mean, you know something about them, because again, they only want to hire people who want to work there. Know what you said on your resume. I can't tell you how many times they're like, when I'm interviewing somebody, I didn't put this on my resume, or what years did I put? Like, they're asking me what the resume says. Don't do that. Know your resume. Have it up in front of you. Dress to impress and be early. Even if it's on technology, you need to be a few minutes early. You need to be ready to go. And not like 15 minutes or a half hour, don't make it weird, but a couple minutes early and be ready to go. And then, guys, so many people miss this. Follow up. Whether it is an email, if you have it. Again, I'm harping on LinkedIn today. Connect with them on LinkedIn if you haven't yet. Sometimes people show up in their interview and you didn't know they were going to be there. Ask their name. That is okay and appropriate. Bring in a notebook and take notes. It's okay to do that. But connect with them on social media. And Sheila, the next slide just shows us all the social media platforms. I mean, there's so many social media platforms. Typically, I will find people on LinkedIn. That's my number one go-to. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Those are kind of the ones that I personally like to use. Now, there are a whole bunch more out there. You can even look up Yelp and look at reviews of the company. Some of them have them, some of them obviously don't. It's not appropriate, but you can always search for them on social media, see what they're doing. Are they doing some really cool community stuff? Bring it up in the interview. So next slide, I want to talk about, and I kind of alluded to this, about what some things on social media that are posted that somebody will not hire you for. So 55% of recruiters have reconsidered a candidate because of something on their social media. But of that 55%, 61% of those were reconsidered because of negative social media. What that means is when after an interview, after somebody, or either after an interview or before an interview, but when someone was in consideration for a job, they went out and did a social media sweep to look at social media, and many people were not invited to an interview or did not get the job because of something on their social media. And sometimes you might think, well, it's my information. You're right. It's totally your information, but you're the representative of that company. And a big one I feel like people don't realize is the negative talk about a past employer. Because a company, when they're searching your social media, they can scroll down. It's not just the last 2 posts. They can scroll. Now, this doesn't happen on LinkedIn as much because you own all the content. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those platforms, you can scroll down and you can see even like a year ago, you said something negative about your employer. They can see that. The other one that kind of, all of these are good, but lying about your abilities, maybe you've posted something on social media, doesn't match what you've told them. Even if it's a story that is a personal story, not super personal, but just, in your personal life, but it doesn't match. They're like, why would they lie about that? Why would they not tell me the truth? And maybe you just got nervous or something. So that one also, and then any kind of drinking or drugs. Now, I am not the drinking police. I'm just letting you know that putting any kind of alcohol or drugs on your social media pages is a little risky. I stopped putting any kind of glass of wine or anything on my social media years ago. And not that I don't have wine, not that I'm trying to hide that fact. But a lot of my clients are churches. And so I don't want to be a misrepresentation to my clients for their church. A lot of my clients are nonprofits. A lot of the people we work with are businesses. And in any way, shape, or form, I never want to be the reason why a company chooses not to move forward with us. And so maybe that glass of wine, no big deal. I'm out with my husband having a glass of wine, no big deal, right? But it's the perception. So I choose not to do it. You get to make that choice, obviously, for your own social media. But I just want you to know that putting it out there is risky. My saying, the way I think about it, I'm not going to post anything on social media that my kids, my grandma, or my boss would say is uncomfortable or was not okay. So if you put it through a filter like that, hopefully, you're good on social media. And then of course, I mean, we're in this politically divisive, culturally divisive time right now. And so watch what you're putting out there. Now, do you go to a march? Do you go to a rally? Sure, you want to do those things. You want to put them out there. Just be cool about it. Just represent yourself well. I don't talk negative about people, and you're good to go. So just know that many people have been reconsidered in a negative way because of what's posted out on their social media. So all of these things together, and go to the next slide, Sheila. The competence. Do you have the competence for the job? Do you have the character match? And are they a character match for you? And how did that chemistry go? Especially think about this. If you know somebody that you know, love, and trust that's working for a company and they are loving it, go talk to them. Even if you don't know the company, go talk to them and say, how did you find that company? How do you love your job? How did you do it? I get that question all the time. How you love your job? How did you do it? And for me, I was like, well, I saw a need. And so I started volunteering and it grew from there. And on the business side, I was like, oh, I saw a need and someone called me and I said, yes. And so I went and helped them. I didn't know what I was doing at first, but I saw the need and I knew I had the experience. I just hadn't worked that industry before. And so talk to people. You want to make sure you are a culture match for them. You guys, it is such a pleasure. I know I have some questions, some private messages, and some questions in the chat I'm going to address. I am honored to be the last keynote speaker of the year, and thank you all for being here today. Thank you.
Hey, Jessica, do you want to answer just a couple I wrote down? Someone was asking, what is the best way to do a thank you? Is it written? Is it email? What's the best way?
Yeah, I think the best way, my opinion, is connecting on LinkedIn, sending a LinkedIn message with the connection if you're not connected to them. But if you have an email, that is a great way to do it because you have a direct connection. So an appropriate thank you would be like, thank you for your time today in our interview. As a reminder, remind them who you are just with a quick line. And then say, tell them something you saw or heard or connected with while you were there. And again, this should just be 3 or 4 sentences, nothing longer, but remind them, it's holiday time. And if you went into an interview, and this is one of my favorite things to do, I look for pictures and stuff in offices. And I was like, I hope you and your kids and husband have a great Christmas, something to connect to that person. So that's how I would do a follow-up.
And the other one that I thought would be easier for you to answer is if you're starting from scratch a network, let's say you just moved here, do you massively connect or do you go slow and try to really build relationships along the way? What's a good technique?
So there are 2 camps in this one. Then you set them. Those are the 2 camps. Okay. The hard part for people new to Phoenix is we can't get in a room right now and meet people. Because that's the first thing I tell people is get out to events. So any kind of virtual events you can attend, I know it's not as good because you're not getting to engage as much, but it'll give you a face to a name. And you can follow up with the speakers, with people on the event. Like today, I hope each of you are connecting with people on the line and you can send direct messages, you can connect with them on LinkedIn. But that is building quality connections. Then in the other camp is building volume connections. And volume is good on a platform like LinkedIn, because if you are connecting with, if you're connected to somebody that maybe you met here on Career Connectors, or that is asking you to connect, you're not really sure who they are, but maybe you do a quick search. That's what I do. Quick search. Oh, they're a recruiter. You know, I get a lot of LinkedIn requests. And so I will look at them, and a lot of times, like if it's people from this event, they'll say in the note, was on your event today. And so I connect with them. But maybe they're in the industry I want to be in, or they're a recruiter, and I'll certainly connect with them then. Anyone who doesn't fall into my personal criteria, I won't connect with. And so but what that does is that gives me another connection to other people as well. And so I don't have a really good answer. There are two very defined camps. Do I go slow and build quality connections, or do I allow a lot of people to connect with me? And I'm kind of in the middle of those two. I always follow up on LinkedIn. If I've met somebody, if I'm tagging them on a post, I tag people because they're coming to speak. And so, yeah, those are two, not a good answer, but I kind of do a little bit of both.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And again, to circle back to my story that I started off with today, 11 years ago, I was on my knees. No great job. We were looking for a new house, essentially homeless, and not sure what to do next. It took a couple days to find a house and a couple months to find a job that pulled us out of the recession. Guys, you can do this. Hang in there. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jessica. Awesome. Oh, I forgot to put your contact up. All right, next up, we have Mia Papa with Hotfoot Granger, a University of Northern Colorado graduate. Mia has specialized in recruiting for the past 3 years and currently serves as site leader for Hotfoot's Phoenix team. Mia is a born people person and specializes in relationship building and call center staffing. A foodie at heart, Mia loves to cook and enjoys spending time with her dog, family, and friends. Welcome, Mia. I'm going to go ahead and give you the mouse. There you go.
Sheila. All righty. Let's see here. Doesn't look like it's pulling up. I don't think it's giving me access here.
Okay, I can do it for you.
Oh, okay, so sorry about that.
No problem. There you go.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much today for giving me some time to speak about Hotfoot Recruiters as well as Granger. So Hotfoot Recruiters was actually founded back in 2009, and what our goal was to, provide superior staffing solutions to our, to our candidates as well as our clients. Overall, it's a wonderful, wonderful company because we've been able to work with a lot of people and help them get to work. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so just to kind of introduce us, we do consider ourselves to be industry experts. We have a lot of different types of opportunities available, which I'm going to go over with you today. Can you go ahead and go to the next slide? Yeah, and then just a little bit about us. Like I had said, we were founded in 2009. We believe the foundation of a great organization is its people, and that's something that we really do pride ourselves on as a company. Hotfoot, essentially, we have a great team that we work with, and every team member that works for Hotfoot does everything we can to help, find jobs for people, especially, let's say I'm working on a specific role and I may not have an opportunity. I'll reach out to my colleague and I'll say, hey, do you have an opportunity that would be a better fit for this person? Because we're all specialized in the different industries that we do work with. So what we do is we really tailor our interview process depending on, what type of industry or position that we are hiring for. Can you go ahead and go to the next slide for me, please? Yeah, so when we say industry experts, I mean, main industries we're going to work with are going to be manufacturing and industrial, call center customer service, engineering, as well as administrative and professional services. We offer a wide range of different types of opportunities. I would say, primarily on our manufacturing side, we have a lot of roles. For example, we have sewers that we're hiring for right now. We are always hiring for industrial sewers. We work with a company that's helping to to produce, face masks for COVID-19 and, medical garments for COVID-19. So, my colleague Miguel, who actually hires for that account specifically, it's actually a couple of accounts, he hires hundreds of people a year. So really, really great opportunity, and it's providing to the community as well, especially during these tough times. Call center customer service. And we also, just making a difference is really, really important. Something that I work really hard for in the account that I specifically work on is making sure that the people that we are working with, we're letting them know, if we're moving forward, we're letting them know where we stand in the process, because it's really important that you maintain that human aspect of the interview process. And I think a lot of the time, you look at interviewing traditionally where, as people might have been a little bit more strict in the interview process, or they wanted you to be a little scared coming into your interview, but we don't handle it, people that way, because we want to make sure that, even if the opportunity we don't have is a good fit for you, we want to give you other options or try to help you utilize resources to find other opportunities. Go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so right now, at this moment in time, I know, big thing is there's a lot of fear surrounding COVID-19. It's definitely something that has been tough for a lot of people, unfortunately, and really devastating to a lot of families. I know for a fact that the account that I hire for, Granger, we've hired over 200 people just in Tempe this year, which is a really big deal to me because, I've interviewed so many people who are out of work due to this pandemic, and it's very hard to hear that. So at this moment in time, open positions that we are currently hiring for are going to be, general production roles. So I would say assembly, shop helpers, machine operators. We hire those types of individuals across the board, valley-wide, paying anywhere from 14 to 17 an hour. And those positions are typically going to be contract to hire. We don't really see a lot of contract roles, and something me personally as a recruiter, I prefer to hire for direct hire roles, specifically because I think tenure is very important on your resume. And if I can place someone in an opportunity where they're going to have a chance to grow and build a career with that company, that is something that I prefer and I feel that I do specialize in. Customer service for financial services. Right now, we are actively hiring for some remote opportunities in the North Phoenix area for customer service call center, paying in the 18 an hour range. So really, really great opportunity. It is actually a contract that my colleague does hire for, but still a great company to work for. Industrial sewers, as I had mentioned, again, we're trying to produce, thousands of garments, or millions actually of garments, face masks, for this pandemic, to make sure that our hospitals have enough, materials, and that, our medical workers are taken care of right at this time, as well as, individuals who do need masks. Data entry. At this moment in time, we are currently hiring for a short-term 2-week contract position for data entry. If you need some extra money coming in for the next 2 weeks, we are actively hiring people who are okay with, making, I think it's about $14 an hour for that role. We are looking for individuals at this time. And then specifically, what I hire for is a company called Granger. Granger is a really, really well-known worldwide industrial supplier. It's a Fortune 500 company, and we hire for direct hire opportunities in Tempe, Arizona, Waterloo, Iowa, and Janesville, Wisconsin. At this moment in time, we are looking to hire hundreds of people in 2021, which is a really, really exciting thing. The position starts out at $17 an hour with a $1.20 pay increase in the first year to $18.20 an hour. So it's a great opportunity. They offer full benefits as well as a very warm and inclusive culture. And something, I know Jessica had spoken to, tailoring your experience and being able to, kind of work with the recruiter. And something that we pride ourselves in at Granger specifically is the culture that we have. When you're going through the interview process with my team or we are taking you through the steps. We are also coaching you in areas that we feel that you could, use coaching in, whether it's behavioral interview questions. We want to set you up for success. And when we work with the hiring managers, we have a very close relationship with the hiring managers as well. So, I'm in constant contact with these hiring managers at Grainger. I'm able to let them know this is why I chose to move forward with this person. I think that you should give them a shot. So a lot of our hires are based off of culture, making sure that, if you do bring a smile in and you are excited about the opportunity, we're excited to work with you and we're going to do everything we can to get you through this hiring process. We have inside sales representatives for San Antonio, Texas with Grainger as well. Another really wonderful opportunity. So we also hire direct hire warehouse supervisors and managers. Currently, we are hiring in California, Maryland, and Missouri. And something I want to share with you all is that we are following all CDC guidelines and regulations regarding, social distancing in light of COVID-19. With Grainger, we go through a screening process. We do require our new hires to come on site, but we require full face masks. Our lobby has completely been redesigned to be able to make sure that anyone that is coming in is having their temperature checked on a daily basis, is wearing a mask, and they're maintaining that distance from their peers. We have the contact center set up to make sure that people aren't on top of each other or overlapping when and that they're socially distanced and spread apart so that they feel safe. And then on top of that, Grainger has also made an effort to be able to push all of our 600 employees that were in the contact center to a virtual work from home setting. And we're able to keep 600 contact center employees working from home during COVID-19. Depending on the business, we'll see when we would decide to bring people back on site. But also Hot Foot recruiters, we are taking all precautions. If the position is something that you can interview virtually, we are taking the step to interview with you virtually. If you need help with your resume on the manufacturing side, we are reformatting resumes to make sure that we are giving you the best shot with our client that we're working with. We have, we have barriers in office for our general production roles that do require interviewing in person. We have, sanitation guidelines we follow, as well as masks. So very, very important to us that, whoever we work with feels that they are safe and that they're healthy. Can you go to the next slide, please, Sheila? Yeah, so this specifically is actually going to be for Grainger, as well as Hotfoot. The QR code that I have listed here is for the customer experience representative role. And the reason why I put this up is because you're able to create a profile within Grainger. And then from there, we'd have access to your information and see if this is going to be something we want to move forward with. We are actively working through our ready to go applicants. So anyone that is applying in our system, we are working with immediately. Our hiring goals are pretty large right now. We have classes coming up end of January 25th. We have classes coming up February, March, April, May. So large projection, especially if you're looking for work or anyone that is looking. Join our team, Hot Foot recruiters. We have plenty of opportunities on the manufacturing side, like I had said, assembly, production, manufacturing, HR specialists, admins. If you go to the Hot Foot Recruiters website, you can see, we recently updated our website, so we have a lot of different opportunities available. If you are interested in any of the roles we have available, please go ahead and send your resume to hr@hotfootrecruiters.com with the position that you're interested in, and we'll be happy to work with you and, take a look at your experience. Can you go to the next slide, Sheila? Yeah, so sorry if I ran over a little bit, but thank you so much for your time and listening to me talk about Hotfoot and Grainger. Like I said, we really want to be able to help people out during this time, and we will do everything we can as your recruiter to make sure that we're able to provide you with the resources and the help that you need to find a job.
Awesome. Thank you, Mia. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have Ashley Hilcher. She's with Penny Mac. Ashley's background includes 6 years of recruiting experience working in the financial industry, title and escrow services, staffing services, logistics, and the mortgage industry. In her most current role, she's supporting a leading mortgage company called Penny Mac, looking to grow their mortgage sales team. Ashley takes pride in supporting the community partners she builds relationships with that can help achieve a common goal of helping job seekers find their next best job opportunity. So welcome, Ashley. And I'm going to go ahead and pass the mouse to you. Maybe you'll be the lucky one that it works out just fine.
All right, let's give it a whirl.
Yeah. There you go.
See. All right. I think I have the mouse control. Okay. Whoop. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, so thank you for having me. I am Ashley Hilcher. I'm a talent acquisition specialist. Just started with PennyMac, as Jessica mentioned. So we're a leading loan services company. I am a recruiter dedicated to help support our sales team, specifically in California and the local Arizona market that I sit in. So a little bit about the company that I'd like to share with you, and I'll just read you these fun facts that I'd like to share about the company. So PennyMac, we are a $3 billion financial services investment firm with unique offerings of mortgage industry related services with 15 offices across the United States and a current workforce of more than 4,500 is poised for exponential growth in the months and years to come. So just to speak to that, this company has been around since 2008 and we are growing exponentially. Just to give you some inside figures of what our future growth is expected in the year 2021, just in the Arizona market, we're looking to add 300 sales representatives to our sales team. So PennyMac today is amongst, just today, standing the top 3 lenders. That may even change in the years to come as we grow. But we are in the top 3 lenders in the US with 360 billion in loans served and a portfolio of 1.8 million happy homeowners. Its unique business model allows it to thrive both in up and down market, unlike any other lenders. For those who know the mortgage industry, to speak to that point, having the assets that this company has to close loans really makes a difference for our borrowers and those in our sales team to make sure that we deliver those services in the mortgage industry. So closing loans on time and successfully is really successful in this industry. So that's what speaks to that figure. PennyMac hires talent from a diverse environment and experiences. From diverse environments and experiences, people who share and embody its value of being accountable, reliable, and ethical. Now, when I first found out about the company, I read about its culture. This really spoke words to how I related to the company. Now, they use this acronym, accountable, reliable, and ethical, in their slogan, "We are PennyMac." So I thought that was really a good slogan to go by for their company culture, to speak to that and how those really speak to my work ethic and what I value. So that's how I related to their company culture. So some things in the next page that I wanted to highlight, just so you can kind of search about the company and these topics. If you'd like to learn more about how we are in the media, just searching PennyMac cares about the community. PennyMac is hiring nationwide for loan officers, and the PennyMac promise. Those are just some key search words you can do to search about the company and learn more about those topics for our company in the media. Some top key stats about our company that I'd like to share with you all. We are listed as a top 3 lender in the US, like I spoke to before, 384 plus billion loans serviced, 1.8 plus million happy homeowners, 117 plus billion serviced in 2019, and number 1 in government lending. Now, this is a little bit about the loan officer position that I'm specifically hiring for. Now, we do hire for other mortgage professional positions as well. If you have a background in the mortgage industry and you'd like to get into more of the operations side, underwriting, processing, closing, loan servicing, customer service, we do have other opportunities in those areas as well. This is just specifically for what I am recruiting for that I'd like to share with you. So the loan officer position that we're hiring for here in Arizona is 100% remote. Our office is located off of the I-17 in Peoria. I'm kind of in the North Phoenix area, but they are going through a transition where they're hoping to move to I-10 University. But the position is 100% remote with the option to go into the office. So if you were to come on board for this position, we would supply you with all the equipment to set up an at-home office and work 100% remotely. We are looking for those that are licensed. So if you have your NMLS ID and a minimum of year and originating loans specifically, supporting FH, VAs, and professionals. That is what our hiring managers look for, having that experience. And something that really attracts our company to our company is the fact that for our loan originators, we have a lead generator that creates warm leads. So those in this industry may be more accustomed to being a mentor, kind of really building their own business. When this particular company in this role, you have a lead generator that produces your warm leads. So that is a little attracting to some that position officer in the sales industry. So I just wanted to speak to those highlights. This is specifically from our posting on our career page. You can find this if you want to reference this page again. And you can read a little more about the job description as well. So if you are interested, you know anybody that is interested in joining our team, like I said, for the loan officer position, or any other type of mortgage professional position that may be able to help you with, you can go to our career page, which is listed there, pennymacusa.com/careers. On LinkedIn, you can find me under Ashley Hilcher. And that's also my direct email. You can email me a copy of your resume or just drop me a note, questions. That would be my email reply. So thank you for having me, and I'll give mouse back over to you, Sheila.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we have Jason Wiseman. Hi, Jason. He's with WealthWave, and we like to, especially this year, everybody's looking for kind of some different opportunities. This is not a traditional opportunity, but it's a really interesting one. A lot of people have been super excited about what Jason has to say. Jason spent 2 decades in the corporate world in the semiconductor industry. Seems to be common here. His business experiences range from owning his own consulting firm to purchasing a franchise that he and his wife ran. The past 12 years has been spent managing his own agency. He's been recognized for his performance in the top 500, been featured on the cover of Business and Finance magazine, and is a multiple 6-figure earner. Jason co-authored a best-selling book called Winning Ways. He's been married for 26 years, 2 children, and is a senior marketing director with WealthWave. Welcome, Jason. Did you want the mouse today, or do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, no, if I can take it, I'll take it.
Yep, I'll hand it over.
Okay, just let me
There
know
you go.
when. Okay, awesome. And I think I'm good. There we go. Awesome. Well, hey, this has been awesome. I loved Jessica's presentation. Sorry, I had another commitment, so I caught the last half of it. But I love that, and I love the fact that you have the DISC profile on your website. That is such a valuable self-evaluation tool that people can use. So lots of great resources here. As Sheila said, I've been with the company now for almost 13 years. I need to update my bio, and I'll be married 29 years in April. So I am bragging about that because that's in today's world, that seems to be a big accomplishment. And it's a great testimony to my wife, to be honest with you, not so much myself. Yeah, so as Sheila said, I'm with WealthWave. I'm a senior marketing director here with the firm. And this is not what I had set out to do in life, just to be real clear with everybody. And sometimes, we find exactly what we're looking for when we're not exactly looking for it, if that makes sense. So imagine, a couple decades almost in the traditional corporate world. And yes, we had bought a franchise. And for 1 year, I had my own consulting business. I worked for myself. And I loved the idea of being an entrepreneur and controlling my time, money, and effort. But it's a scary proposition. There's a lot of money involved. There's oftentimes uncertainty. And so I never could quite make the jump from a career. And but I was a little dissatisfied with what I was doing, and I was looking to make a change. But I just figured that I would stay, and then the plan was actually to stay in my career field. So I'm sharing this with you because my interaction with people from Career Connectors and just in general over the past several years has been this this, and don't take this the wrong way, but it's been kind of a one-track mind. Okay, like this is what I do, this is what I know how to do, this is what I'm good at doing. But all of a sudden that ship sails in a different direction and it's not providing anymore, or maybe it's not even fulfilling, which was really my case. I just had no fulfillment with what I was doing. And so I decided I was going to actually look for a smaller company. I worked for a global company, and maybe get a bigger position with a bigger title, and then come back to a big company with a bigger title, bigger pay, bigger bonus, and so on and so forth. But I looked at, and that, by the way, that was purely a financial reason. It had nothing to do with fulfillment. I just figured, well, this is the game I'm playing. I might as well try and max it out. And but I said to my wife, I said, you know, we've got to get some help with our investments, our insurance on our retirement, because it just doesn't seem to be doing what I think it should, as compared to maybe what the market is doing overall. And so I called my CPA and we sat with a guy. I asked him if he had anybody that helped, and he said yes. And we sat with him, and we learned a few things. You know, we learned a little bit more about how money works on the investment side. We learned a little bit more about our behavior when it came to money, and it really started to make an impact in our life immediately. And when we opened our account with him, I held on to the check. This is how long ago it was. I wrote a check and I held on to it, and I said, hey, what does it take to do what you do? And you know, part of the reason for that is I was a little bit frustrated. I was actually a little bit angry that this whole time we had been doing fairly well financially, but even our own CPA had not said, hey, you should talk to this person and make sure your retirement is set and your investment is working properly. And nobody had ever reached out to us for anything like that. Not the 401k people that we were using, not in any previous jobs. And I thought, why in the world? Like, how big of a player do you have to be? You know, player meaning how much money do you have to have before you get on somebody's radar and start to get some help? And it started to frustrate me a little bit. And I started to think about my parents, and I started to think about my peers who I just made a pretty good assumption that they too were not getting serviced and had not been helped. And so we went to lunch, me and this gentleman, and we had a conversation. And the one thing that convinced me that I could have a shot was part-time. I was able to start part-time, which as I learned moving forward, I didn't know anything about the industry at all. That is a very rare circumstance. Most companies will not let you start part-time. So for about a year, I did both. I had my day job, and I had this business that I was learning and being educated on and being trained using their system and so on and so forth to start to build something that I got some confidence with. And I did not know, by the way, starting out, if it would be a full transition for me. I didn't know, but I figured, hey, I can get in the industry, I can do some good. Maybe I can get that fulfillment that I didn't have, meaning I could feel good at the end of my day about what I was doing and make a difference in somebody's life. And if it turns out that I can match my pay, then I'll think about making a full-time transition. And about a year later, I did that. And what that is that's just a testimony to our vision and mission. And the first thing is we are a force for families. Middle America is being left behind financially, period. You can't argue it. The evidence is clear. When you have 4 million people 2 weeks into a lockdown and a pandemic that have been unemployed, that don't make their mortgage payments, that means that somewhere along the way that there was not enough education given, there was not enough guidance, there was not enough support to help people understand about the time-tested, proven, 30, 60, 90, 6 months worth of emergency fund that wasn't there for people. In August, 33% of Americans didn't make their mortgage payments again, and have put those payments off in forbearance. And it's just there's a storm brewing that is not good, and middle America will pay the price, and as we have so many times. And so we're a force for those families, and we want to provide the education and help them get on their feet. We believe no family should be left behind. When you look at just the mission here in Arizona, 6.9 million people of the 7.2 million people that live here fit a demographic that the overall industry does not know how to serve. They serve them in some ways, but not in a real way that's going to be meaningful and impactful in their life. And so we believe that we can take, because we've done it, Wall Street, and it's not, it's pretty cliche, and I understand how it sounds when you hear it the first time, but we want to bring Wall Street to Main Street. It's inexcusable for somebody who can, who's got a small family and is just getting started in life and has got a couple $100s a month that they can, put someplace to grow over time, that they don't get the same opportunity for that $200 that somebody gets with $500,000. And we lay the framework for that for people. And we just don't think anybody should be without that. We also understand what's missing is education. We're not teaching these concepts in schools. We're not teaching it in colleges. Employers aren't teaching it to their employees. It's not really their place to. Like, their job is to provide a job for people. And of course, if you look at the overall numbers in the US, previous generations have set an overall bad example for us when it comes to our money and finance and the debt that we carry and so on and so forth. So we want to flip the script on that and put education at the forefront of what we do. We wrote this great little book called How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. It's this thick. In this book, you will learn exactly how, starting tomorrow, you can start to build a fortune just like John D. Rockefeller did, 100 years ago, and he went on to be the world's first billionaire. We not only have the book, but the pandemic actually leaned in our favor big time, because we have had all this material for the past 5 years. We've been very progressive in how we leverage technology and websites and so on and so forth. And so we had the online classes. We now have it in Spanish. The book is coming out in Spanish. So we're trying to reach beyond just the status quo, so to speak, and deeper into the population, and hopefully make an impact on multiple generations. So why could this be exciting for you? Well, number one, this is a licensed quality profession. This isn't something that just anybody can enter. I'm a fully licensed person. I had to do background checks through the state of Arizona at a national level. When I got my securities license, that was all done. I mean, I tell people it's a full under the hood look. So if you got any scruples, we need to know about it ahead of time. But this also makes it a unique environment where it's not just for everybody. So if you're a professional and you got a clean background, so to speak, then that's a point of entry. Why would you choose us in the industry? Well, we've got a turnkey solution. It's a licensed profession. You have ownership. We allow people to start on a part-time basis. We've not had a layoff or a furlough, not in 2008, not during the pandemic. In fact, our businesses grew during that time because these things are such a shock to people's life that all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, maybe we better talk to somebody about how to avoid or how to keep what we've built. That's the other thing. A lot of people have accumulated, and then you have a market decline like we did in such a short time, 40% in 8 or 10 weeks or whatever it was. And that scares the daylights out of people. We're not getting any younger. They want to know how to make that last for retirement. All the training is hands-on, and the mentorship comes from, it's not theory, it's people that are actually doing it or have done it. And we've just got a long history of helping families. So it's an extremely rewarding career, even on a part-time basis. Most people don't have a plan B. And that's like driving from here to Florida and never making sure that we've got a spare tire in our car. We would never do that, but yet too often we do that with our careers. So whether it's something that somebody wants to look at, as a plan B perspective and just have a little bit of income coming in, hours are flexible. It's not as much as what you might think. Or if it's even a full transition, then we absolutely would be happy to and open to a conversation about that. So what I've done, because obviously there's a lot to cover, this QR code here will, if you click on that, it'll send me an email. I'm going to do a follow-up session this Friday at 11:30. We can explore more of our tools and technology. I'm an open book. You can ask me anything you want to, just about anything, that is, as long as it's not too personal. But I'll probably even share personal stuff with you if you want. And you know, we'll just see what the next steps are from there. So I appreciate the time here with everybody today on Career Connectors, and I love what this organization is about. It's so awesome, and I remember Jessica when she started this, and her passion was very, very high, and you know, what you've built here is incredible, Jessica. So congratulations.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we just have a few other resources to talk about, so we'll zip through those. One thing is we do love to get your feedback, and so I'm going to launch maybe some poll questions. No, I'm not going to launch poll questions. Let me see. I'm not going to launch poll questions today, but if you have feedback, seriously, we are interested to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions. You can email contact@careerconnectors.org with any feedback you have. If there's companies you know in town you'd like to hear from, let us know. We'll try to bring them in. So here are our full list of partners in the community that we appreciate, and they enable us to bring this program to you. So thank you, thank you. One of our partners, Best Companies AZ, has put together a resource on their website that we helped with, and it's a list of companies that are verified hiring right now. And it's got some specific resources both for employers and job seekers. So I encourage you to go to bestcompaniesaz.com/resources. And on our website, on Career Connectors website, Jessica already talked about the DISC assessment, but we have Susan here blogging. Thank you, Susan, for being here. So if you missed any of the details today, Susan's going to capture that, and we'll get that posted on the website as well. We obviously aren't doing portraits at this event, but some of you might know that we do have someone who had reached out to us. Oops, and that's coming up in a minute. In a couple minutes, you'll hear about, there is, I think, 1 or 2 more days this year. If you do need a headshot, you'll be able to still do that. We are on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We encourage you to connect with us there. LinkedIn in particular, we have a LinkedIn company page, but we also have a LinkedIn group, and that's what I want all of you to join and continue the conversation there. Okay, our upcoming events in the new year include on January 14th, we're going to have Bridget McGowan, which if you haven't heard her, you do not want to miss January 14th. She's going to present Walk That Walk and Talk That Talk, and it will be unforgettable. And watch your email to know what companies are coming. And then on the 26th of January, we have a second in a series. We're doing a series of 3 events for Tempe, virtual job fairs, and we're having about 10 to 12 employers at each one of them. So you can see so far for January 26th, we have Viasat, Bank of the West, Taros Health, CVS, Granger, Carvana, Kyrene School District, Starbucks, and T-Tech. And then 2 days later, we'll be back in this format with Michael Seaver, finding generational similarities to improve communication. So this is a little bit more about the Tempe event. The great thing, we're partnering also with Pipeline AZ, Best Companies, and Arizona at Work, Maricopa County. And what Pipeline provides to that is after our live event, they have a job matching platform. So when you register for the event, you have a profile on their platform, and they are actively matching you with the employers at that event to enable you to connect with interview opportunities. And then matching goes on for a couple of weeks before and after the event. You can go to tempe.gov/job fairs to learn about that. Okay, so Gordon Murray with Flash Photo reached out to us, and he did something creative this year. Obviously, his regular studio business kind of came to a halt with COVID, but he said, you know what, I think people still need pictures. So he has been setting up in different places all around the valley, and he is offering free, if you need it, headshots. So if your LinkedIn profile is not what you want it to be, he still has some, the 15th. Okay, so January 5th is his next date for pictures. And this has been in our newsletter too, if you need the URL. Okay, on our website, I wanted to point out that we have a few types of videos. Jessica's been doing these short little like career chats, little updates along the way. They've varied about what they are, but they're right on our homepage under career chat. And then she's done some like longer interviews, even some of them are panels with the community updates. Early on, she did with unemployment people, and then she's done a LinkedIn panel, all different ones. Those can be found here. And then events like this are under the CC webinars right here. If you click there, then all of these type of events are there. So if you missed one and you want to go back and watch it, it is there. Also, if you're here at this event, you probably are already on our newsletter, but if not, you can subscribe on the website. Okay, we could not do this without our amazing volunteers who amazingly have continued volunteering even through all this virtual. So thank you, Gian, thank you, Susan, thank you, resume writers. And also today we have coaches that have come online to join our breakout rooms. So thank you, thank you. And I think, yes. Also, if you don't, obviously we are a nonprofit and we have struggled like all other nonprofits and companies this year. So if you feel so inclined, we do have a donate button on our website. And here's a little bit more about what that does and how much it costs for us to run our program. It's $42 per person. And Jessica, I wanted to see if you had anything else you wanted to say before we go to the breakout rooms.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you all, we're glad that we're part of your network and we are here to help in any way we can, and wish you all a great holiday season, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I would just want to encourage you to continue on the search, reach out to companies, reach out to people, get outside of the comfort zone of you know, our kind of box that we live in. Really reach out and connect with people. And I want you all to know that me and my team, we are continuing to pray that you do land into the career of your dreams in 2021.
Awesome. Okay, so if you're interested, all of the companies, Jessica is staying, and we have resume writers, LinkedIn coaches, and career coaches here to talk to you. So if you're interested in any of those conversations, hold on, and I'm going to kind of explain how that works. So the coaches we have here, Gregory is here to do career coaching. So anything in your job search that you're not sure about, branding,